Imagine a moment where you wake up feeling hopeful, ready to greet the day, but a familiar worry tugs at your mind. You recall how, just last week, you found yourself avoiding intimacy with your spouse because you were unsure if you could perform. It's an unspoken concern many seniors face, yet few discuss openly. I remember speaking with Arthur, a 74-year-old gentleman who was on the verge of giving up on his love life altogether. He confided that every night he felt growing anxiety rather than the closeness he once cherished. That anxiety took a toll not just on his marriage, but on his sense of self-worth. He felt powerless, and that's a heartbreaking place to be. Erectile dysfunction is more than a medical term. It can chip away at your confidence, your relationships, and even your sense of joy. The fear of disappointing a loved one or confronting your own changing body can create a shadow over what should be the golden years of life. But what if there's a way through this that doesn't rely solely on prescriptions or invasive procedures? That's what we're exploring today, a path toward relief grounded in natural strategies that many seniors report have helped them reignite a spark they believe was gone forever. Today, you'll discover 5 specific approaches that could transform how you experience intimacy, regardless of whether you're in your late 60s or moving through your 70s and beyond. Each method is designed to address not just the physical side of things, but the emotional and psychological dimensions as well. Stay with me, because the final recommendation is something that few people talk about, yet for Arthur, it was the missing puzzle piece. He told me it gave him the kind of confidence he hadn't felt in more than a decade. Scientific research now shows that lifestyle factors, dietary habits, and targeted exercises can play a pivotal role in improving performance and overall quality of life. Drawing on insights from doctors and specialists in senior health, these strategies are recognized as safe, natural, and adaptable, even if you have certain limitations or concerns. Before we begin, if you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications. That way you won't miss any future discussions about holistic approaches to senior wellness. And feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Type 1 if you believe in finding natural solutions for our bodies, or 0 if you're more skeptical. I want to hear your perspective so we can keep refining our content for you. The goal is simple: to bring relief from the worry and frustration that erectile dysfunction can create, and to offer a renewed sense of hope. Let's explore these 5 natural remedies one by one and see how they can help restore not only physical vitality, but also peace of mind and deeper emotional connection. The first approach might surprise you because it challenges what most seniors have been told about rest versus movement. There's a persistent myth that when you struggle with intimacy, you need to slow down, relax, and avoid strenuous activity to protect your health. However, many specialists now suggest that certain forms of exercise can bolster blood flow and support performance in ways most of us never realize. Consider Thomas, who's 77. For a long time, he believed that slowing down was the only way to stay safe. He avoided any form of movement that even remotely raised his heart rate. Over time, his muscles weakened, his stamina declined, and his confidence eroded. Worse still, his erectile dysfunction grew more pronounced, and he felt trapped in a cycle of inactivity that only made him feel older than his years. Then he heard about a targeted routine focusing on pelvic floor exercises and light cardiovascular activity. At first, he thought it sounded too good to be true, but with his doctor's supervision, Thomas started small: brief walks around the block, gentle squats, and basic pelvic floor contractions that are often overlooked but can significantly improve blood flow where you need it most. The shocking truth: many seniors are capable of exercises that were traditionally recommended only for younger men, as long as they're adapted safely. Doing these moves consistently, even for just 10 or 15 minutes a day, can profoundly influence circulation to the pelvic region. More blood flow often translates into stronger, more reliable performance. It's like priming a pump. The more you keep everything active, the easier it is to function when the moment arrives. When Thomas first noticed a change, he described it as if a veil lifted. He felt a new kind of energy and, more importantly, a sense of pride. He'd gone from feeling powerless to regaining an element of control over his body. If you'd like to try this, start by dedicating just a few minutes each morning to a gentle routine. This might be a slow walk or doing seated leg lifts if mobility is an issue. Pair it with simple pelvic floor exercises. Contract the muscles you'd use to stop urination midstream. Hold for a few seconds, then release. Over time, increase the duration and frequency. The emotional benefit is twofold. You'll feel accomplished for taking charge of your health and notice gradual improvements that can reinvigorate your sense of intimacy. Now let's move forward to a second remedy that tackles another deep-seated misconception. Many seniors believe certain foods are heart-healthy, but have no relevance to intimacy. The bold statement here is that what's good for your heart is also good for erectile function. We often hear about low-sodium diets, fiber, and lowering cholesterol, but rarely do we talk about how these dietary choices impact sexual health. In reality, the foods that promote circulation and cardiovascular wellness can be the key to improved performance in the bedroom too. Helen, 81, is living proof. She had spent years controlling her salt intake to manage blood pressure issues, but she often relied on processed low-fat foods that weren't truly nutritious. Her doctor advised her to incorporate more leafy greens, natural sources of healthy fats like avocados and nuts, and antioxidant-rich fruits. She was skeptical that any of this would do more than just help her blood pressure. But after a few months, she started noticing changes in her energy levels, her mood, and even her libido. She and her husband found themselves having deeper conversations about their renewed connection. The reality? A balanced diet full of real, whole foods can make a profound difference in how blood circulates throughout the body, including the reproductive system. If you want to try this, consider adding a cup of spinach or kale to your day, or swapping out processed snacks for fresh berries. Think of it this way. Every meal can either boost or hinder your circulation. Making small dietary adjustments can lead to consistent improvements in how you feel. The emotional benefit here is the confidence you gain when your body starts responding more positively. It's a reminder that aging doesn't have to mean stagnation or decline. Instead, it can be a chapter of renewed awareness about what you put into your body and how it impacts every facet of your life. If you're still here, type a 2 in the comments and let me know this content is making sense to you. It really does help to see your feedback. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this would be a great time to do so. That way, you'll stay informed as we continue exploring natural solutions for senior wellness. Moving on to the third remedy, which many people overlook because they think it's all in the head, stress management. The misconception is that erectile dysfunction in older age is purely physiological. But the truth is that stress, anxiety, and fear of failure can compound any physical challenges. Think of stress as a thief that quietly steals your ability to enjoy life's moments, including intimacy. John, 79, is someone who felt this acutely. After losing his wife, he struggled with loneliness and financial concerns. When he eventually entered a new relationship, he discovered he couldn't perform the way he wanted. Initially, he assumed it was purely a result of getting older, but a grief counselor pointed out that unaddressed stress can tighten blood vessels and disrupt the mental cues needed for arousal. John began a simple 10-minute daily relaxation routine: deep breathing, mindfulness, and writing down 3 things he was grateful for each morning. Over time, this shifted his state of mind, lowering his tension and allowing better blood flow. The surprising insight is that calming your nervous system can be just as powerful as any physical exercise. Try this for yourself. Commit to a short relaxation practice every day. It could be a few moments of focused breathing, a gentle stretch, or even listening to calming music. Picture a mini reset button for your mind. The emotional reward is the sense of relief that comes from realizing you're not at the mercy of performance anxieties. When you handle stress more gracefully, you create a supportive environment for intimacy to flourish. The fourth remedy takes us into the territory of herbal and supplemental support. There's a common misconception that once you're over 70, supplements or natural remedies aren't going to help much. They're considered too mild compared to prescription options. However, many seniors have found gentle support in herbs like ginseng or ingredients like L-arginine. Some specialists suggest these substances may enhance blood flow or support the body's natural processes. Ron, who is 82, was hesitant at first. He thought, if it's not a heavy-duty medication, it can't possibly work. But he was wary of certain side effects he'd heard about regarding traditional ED medications. After discussing it with a knowledgeable health practitioner, Ron tried a regimen of ginseng capsules alongside a well-rounded diet. He also supplemented with L-arginine and took care to stay hydrated. Within a couple of months, Ron noticed firmer, more consistent responses. He celebrated by planning a special evening with his partner, something he hadn't done in years because he felt too self-conscious. The unexpected twist is that many seniors assume they need the strongest possible intervention, but sometimes a subtler, more holistic approach is exactly what the body can handle best. If you're interested in exploring this path, consider talking to a healthcare professional about which herbs or supplements might align with your existing routine. The emotional benefit is the peace of mind that comes with fewer risks and side effects, allowing you to feel more in tune with your body rather than at odds with it. If you're still watching, type a 4 in the comments so I know you've stayed with me through these insights. It's always encouraging to see who's actively engaging. If you're finding value here, feel free to share this video with someone who might benefit. Finally, let's discuss the fifth remedy, which often goes unspoken. Open communication about intimacy. Many seniors grew up in an era when sexual topics were taboo, leading them to believe that it's embarrassing or futile to speak openly about ED. This silence can create tension, misunderstandings, and a sense of isolation. Take Martin, who's 76, and his wife, Eliza. For years, they tiptoed around the topic, each worried about hurting the other's feelings. Martin feared his wife might interpret his difficulties as a lack of interest, while Eliza thought Martin's silence meant he no longer cared to be close. The reality was that they both felt vulnerable and didn't know how to begin the conversation. One day, Martin decided to speak up, expressing his worries, frustrations, and hopes for their relationship. Eliza responded with understanding and relief. She, too, felt uncertain but still yearned for closeness. That open dialogue became the foundation for them to explore the remedies we've covered here, from exercise to stress management, and they supported each other as they tried different approaches. The emotional benefit of open communication is profound. It transforms the challenge of ED from a solitary struggle into a shared journey, where both partners can adapt, offer empathy, and celebrate each victory together. If you feel uncertain about broaching this topic, start slowly with a statement of how you feel rather than accusations or apologies. You might say, "I've been feeling worried about our intimacy, and I'd like to work on this together." That small step can open a pathway to greater closeness than you might imagine. As we near the end of this conversation, take a moment to reflect on what these 5 strategies could mean for you. Each one, targeted exercise, a heart-healthy diet, stress management, herbal or supplemental support, and honest communication, offers a different angle of support for erectile function after 70. Together, they form a more holistic approach that addresses both body and mind. The key is to remember that improvement is often gradual and personal. What works for someone else may need fine-tuning for you, but the underlying message is powerful. You are not stuck, and you have options that extend beyond simply accepting this issue. Now is the time to consider trying at least one of these strategies in your own life. Even if it's something as simple as adding more greens to your dinner plate or carving out 5 minutes of peaceful meditation each evening, taking that first step can create momentum. Visualize what your life could look like in a few weeks or months. A renewed sense of trust in your body, a deeper connection with your partner, and an overall feeling of relief knowing you're not at the mercy of a problem you once thought was inescapable. I'd love to hear which remedy resonated with you the most. Share one thing you plan to implement in the comments and let us know how it goes. Your experiences might inspire someone else who's been silently wrestling with the same concerns. And if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Every time you engage, you help build a community that supports and uplifts seniors seeking a better quality of life. Remember, hope is not restricted by age. At 70, 75, or even 85, your capacity for renewal remains. You have more power than you realize. Don't be afraid to take that power into your own hands. Thank you for watching, and here's to rediscovering the confidence, joy, and connection that intimacy can bring. No matter how many birthdays you've celebrated.